Yep, they confirmed the regular guy was here.
This is my story of traveling around the entirety of the Philippines. This story begins in Angeles City, Philippines, and it ends in Angeles City, Philippines. Or as some like to call it, Horace Villas, but I completely disagree with this statement. Let's get on with it, folks. So here I am, spending a month in Angeles City, Philippines, basically just killing time waiting on my bike paperwork so I can legally drive. So after killing time in Angeles City for 1 month, I got a call from Cebu that the bike was ready. Okay, but in this video, I'm going to try and tell a story about each location I go to. So before the pandemic, I met a girl off a dating site. She worked at a call center. If you had watched my early videos, I did a video on this particular girl using stick figures. But whenever I came into Angeles, she was my girl, okay? This was my girl. Now, were we boyfriend and girlfriend? Not really, but anyway. But this recent time that I was in Angeles, she had some trip planned for Thailand. You know how girls are. They gotta be independent. They gotta travel. They're all about travel when they become independent. Anyway, she had booked it before she knew I was coming. She had invited me to join her just at the last second, but I had just flown in from Canada, so I wasn't in the mood for more traveling, but I was bummed that she was not able to join me in this Angeles month that I was going to be here. Because the good thing with this girl, with this particular girl, this call center girl, was that she loves the D, okay? I mean, screw the like, it hurt, I'm not in the mood. This girl was always in the mood. That's why I missed her. And by her, I'll call her the call center Baybay. But you gotta respect a girl like that. But she wasn't able to meet due to her trip being at the same time that I happened to be in Angeles. So I was a bit disappointed, a bit depressed. It was part of the reason I came up. But nevertheless, the month passed and the bike was ready. So I got a taxi to the Clark Airport and it flies directly to Lapu-Lapu in Cebu, where I picked up my bike and the journey begins. The first city I went to with my brand new bike was Ormoc City, Leyte. Let's skip here the minor details and focus on the interesting interactions that I had. So the ferry left at 10 a.m., left Cebu at 10 a.m., and I arrived in Ormoc at, I think it was 6 p.m. So on the ferry, I was talking to a Filipino guy who also had an NMAX, okay? He and I rode our bikes onto the ferry at the same time. I said to him, nice bike. And anyway, he and I started talking. So during the ferry ride to Ormoc, he and I talked, and at the end of the ferry trip, he asked me which hotel I was staying at. But to be honest, I didn't remember the name because I booked under, I think it's called Peachtree. I did not book under Red Doors, even though it's the same hotel. So I told him I don't know. He took it as, I did know, but I didn't want to tell him, okay? And so after hours and hours of he and I talking, just like friends, he kind of just walked away as if I had rejected him. So I felt bad about that, but anyways, I went straight to the Red Doors Hotel, the Peach whatever. My friend was also there at the hotel, and this was the origins right here of the Ormoc theory, which states that having a network in a city means everything. Anyway, my friend and I had a good time there in Ormoc for a few days. I really did love Ormoc. It was temporarily my new favorite city. I mean, we both liked it there. Now, there are two highlights of Ormoc City. Let me tell you this. One of the highlights was being at Beau's coffee shop in the SM Mall at 10 a.m. As the SM doors opened up, the girls will be going into the mall, entering the mall because they're all waiting outside. And I'll tell you one thing for sure, you do get stares if you're sitting here in the Beau's coffee shop. In general, in Ormoc, the girls there, they do like foreign guys. I mean, you get a little more attention than you do in other parts of the Philippines, but especially if you're sitting in Beau's in the SM as the girls are entering. Not necessarily at 10 a.m., but throughout the day. Just a foreigner sitting at the window seems to get a lot of attention from the girls there. The other highlight of Ormoc was sitting down on the boardwalk at night. A lot of college girls around, and it seems to be sort of hit and miss. Some nights you get a lot of hellos and sometimes zero. But anyway, a few days later, my friend left Ormoc, okay? And I was in Ormoc by myself, and I started to get bored with it. And with my newfound scooter freedom, it was time to bolt. I could just feel it. And the first place I wanted to check out was the island of Butuan, which is in Northern Leyte. I was just curious about Butuan. It was supposed to be like a virgin paradise, like just a virgin, untouched, natural paradise. So when I went up there to Butuan to check it out, it was very nice island. I mean, it had the best roads, the best views. It had a ton of small town girls, but it's hard to find the girls if you're outside the one major city there called Naval, because all the villages are like off the highway and up the mountain like 100 meters. What you'll find compare that to Mindanao. What you'll find is on Mindanao, it's flat, and so the villages are along the highway. But in Butuan, the villages are up the mountain. But I mostly stayed in the city of Naval during my stay. I remember the very first day I arrived in Naval, I was walking around this small city, and it was amazing. Like, easy to talk to the girls, and they were friendly. I remember I was just passing some girls on the sidewalk, and I said to them, hello, what's your name? Blah, 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 the usual stuff. And then I said, do you want some ice cream? Because, we were passing by some store, and they said, sure. And it was, they just got that easygoing kind of personality there up in Naval. It would be interesting to live in Naval. Even though there's not a lot to do in Naval, there is just like a lot of girls walking around. I would say if you're bored in Naval, just ride around the island. That's the best part of Naval, is it's in Butuan, and Butuan is beautiful. What I like best about Butuan is that there's just thousands of hidden gems, both in terms of girls, like in terms of beautiful village babes, and also the nature, like waterfalls, mountains, views, rivers that you can swim in, and hiking up the mountain and so on. But it's like hidden treasures, you got to find them. You even have to find the girls, since the villages seem to be up the highway, like I said. It's not a tourist kind of area, Butuan. There's not a lot of tourists there. I mean, you're not going to have tours set up. I mean, if someone set up a tour business, they'd go bankrupt. There are no tourists up there in Butuan. But Butuan is an interesting little, what I call like a virgin area. Like, there are just no foreigners there. I mean, there are foreigners there, but very rare. And the foreigners I did see were kind of like the married type, married to local girls, it seemed like. What I did not like most about Butuan, was that there's no like modern type places like Starbucks, or even I didn't find any good coffee shops at all. And also Wi-Fi was hard to come by there in Butuan, even in the bigger city of Naval. Anyways, I got bored. I did get bored there in Butuan and then Naval, and I took off. Baybay City. I went back to, after Butuan, I went back to Ormoc for a night, and then I took off to Baybay City the next day to meet a girl. Now, between Ormoc and Baybay City, I gotta say, one thing I noticed is, I'm being honest here, guys. I'm not just saying this for the heck of it, but between Ormoc and Baybay City, what I noticed was the amount of females along the highway with large breastises. I mean, I'm sorry, I do apologize. I hate to say it, it sounds low class. Now, I am convinced that God had sent these girls to me for a reason. As I was writing, I was thinking, I wouldn't mind marrying a Leyte babe. I made it all the way to Baybay City. I happened to contain myself. Now, in Baybay City, I was supposed to meet a girl, okay? But unfortunately, the girl flaked. And anyway, coincidentally, my friend also went to Baybay City to meet a girl that he met online. Not at the same time as me. He met her at a different time. But that girl that he was meeting also flaked. And it was not the same girl. We, compared pics of our girls. So it seems to me that all the girls in Baybay, they flake. So I will not be going back to Baybay if I meet a girl online. I'm sorry, girls. We don't want you to come back anyway. Anyway, but what I liked best about Baybay was they had a good group of nice foreigners there, very welcoming to a new foreigner. I had just been walking by some foreigners there when I was filming in town, and they invited me to join them for dinner. Very welcoming. Also, what I liked in Baybay City was that there was no helmet rule, no helmet laws if you're riding your scooter. I do love not being told what to do, okay? If I want to wear a helmet, I will wear a helmet. In Baybay, you have that choice. But overall, friendly people and no scooter helmet laws is the good thing about Baybay, or as I call it, Freedom City. You also got a lot of mountains up there, so it's kind of like comparing Dumaguete. The mountain area would be like Valencia. Oh, also, I like that they have some really nice oceanside coffee shops, and also Baybay has a boardwalk, like a boulevard. Props to the great city of Baybay. Could be the next Dumaguete if you ask me. Something I don't like about Baybay, well, I did go to a restaurant and I was excited to go there, but the food was freaking terrible. They market it as like a farm cafe, so I'm thinking like, wow, fresh everything. But oh my God, I've never had worse meat in my life. 80% of the pork they gave me in my Bicol Express was not even edible. Anyway, everyone in the city and outside the city of Baybay were super friendly. Aside from the restaurant, there was actually nothing bad to say about Baybay. I'm sure the local foreigners there would hate for Baybay to become the next Dumaguete, but I'm just saying it does have the same potential as Dumaguete.
Wow, so if you go over to regular guy's channel, he did a video here, but he didn't show the room. They were having some kind of get-together down there in the restaurant. I'm not sure what happened. 60,000 subscribers or something like that. Incredible. Yeah, the Red Palm, he ended up not staying here. He ended up staying at the GV. You guys were on regular guy's channel last night. Did you know that? Ah, here you go. Yep, they confirmed the regular guy was here.
I did drive straight from Baybay to Liliwan City, but it was not really planned that way. On the way, I drove through a city. It's called Bato. Okay, Bato City. And I gotta say that this was a unique little place. First of all, there are no hotels in Bato, so that means no foreigners there. So I just drove through it with no helmet, and I got stares from the girls. A friend of mine actually did stay in Bato for a few hours, and he got a lot of stares while there. And another guy told me that if you walk on the boardwalk in the evening in Bato, like 4 p.m., you will get a lot of attention from the girls. Anyway, I can't verify that, but I can say for sure that it's definitely likely, as I just drove through and I got looks. Different kind of vibe in Bato, that is for sure. I do want to go back there. So Bato is Stairs City, but I kept going and I had planned to sleep in Sogod. But on Agoda, there was only one expensive hotel in Sogod. So I ended up driving right through Sogod. I may be blaming the expensive hotel, but really, I just felt like just continuing my ride. It's kind of addicting. The freedom you feel riding is like, it's like a drug. I just don't want to stop until I have to. But if Sogod had a good hotel available, I would have stopped there just to experience the people of Sogod, as it seemed like the people there were very friendly. The only thing that makes me stop riding while I'm traveling is nighttime, or I'm like dying to have a shower, or I just really want to see some particular town. Anyway, I made my way all the way to Liliwan. It was a long ride, but it was still daytime by the time I got there. In Liliwan, there was a fast cat ferry coming in a few hours, so I decided to get on that ferry and head to Mindanao. Thing is, if you just get the ferry now, you know, like you don't have to worry about the ferry bullcrap the next morning. And what I mean by ferry bullcrap is just, you know, it's the 6 steps to buying a ticket. It's the sitting there waiting. It's the possibility it'll be 2 hours late. And it's the Philippines. So you just never know what will happen. But if I'm going to get on a ferry now, today, then I don't have to deal with it tomorrow morning. And also, if I deal with it now, I have total freedom tomorrow morning to do what I want to do. I did have it in my mind to sleep in Liliwan, as I was already way past my theoretical stopping point. But I thought, you know, better just to get to Siargao City now, and then I can just start the Mindanao tour thing in the morning, which sounded better to me. I arrived in Surigao late. It was about 11 p.m. or so. I had a hard time finding my hotel in the dark, but I asked the locals around the area. Well, they pointed me in the right general direction of where my hotel was. So I asked about 3 people, okay? I asked directions 3 times where this hotel was. And it turns out it was above a 7-Eleven, okay? But nobody said it was above the 7-Eleven. But anyway, it was highlights of this particular Surigao hotel was the shower was good, okay? But when you're dirty and sweaty and tired, any shower is going to feel good, okay? So anyway, I just slept. I'm just going to skip the boring parts. But small story here. The story takes place in the hotel, and as usual, it involves the Baybaroonies. The next morning, I packed everything and I was ready to go. I put my hand on the door handle. I was about to exit my room to start my Mindanao adventure. But just as I touched the door handle, I overheard the 2 desk girls talking, and the one said, "There's a foreigner there." So I'm assuming she pointed at my room. So I refrained from opening my door so I could eavesdrop. So the other girl replied, 302? Kind of like that. And there was silence, so I guess she nodded her head. So I opened the door at that time, and what do you think happened? They both turned their head my way. It could have been just because I opened my door, but I don't think so. I mean, maybe they weren't even talking about me for all I know, but that's what I understood. Anyway, I walked toward the front desk, for the checkout process, and I was smiling, of course, as usual. They were smiling too, and they were actually good looking. They were 21 or 25 years old. I like friendly people, so I was happy to see them. I asked them for the sake of conversation. I said, "Are you from Surigao?" I mean, that's the best I could come up with. It's the art of the conversation with Scotty Boy. Anyway, she said that, I pronounced the city wrong. I don't remember the pronunciation. She said, "You pronounce it this way." And that may have been the start of a beautiful relationship, or just a one-nighter for all I know. But I did not pursue it because, hey, I was a man on a mission. I was determined to ride around the great island of Mindanao. I didn't want anything holding me back. And that was that. I checked out of the hotel and I started my short, and I mean comparably short compared to what I usually do. I started my short ride to Butuan City. I like the ride from Surigao to Butuan. Let's just drop a pin to see what it looks like here. Now, the reason I went to Butuan was to meet someone. It was a girl, okay? I had this 2-year LDR relationship during the pandemic while I was in South Korea, and this girl happened to live in Butuan. So I had spent a month living in Butuan getting to know her, but her and I are just friends now. She's a very good girl. We met up, we ate ramen together. It was good to see her again, and man, I gotta tell you, she did look very good. Now, her and I, we never touched. It was a failed relationship in terms of love, but her and I, we are still friends. But I also went to Butuan for another reason. I just like Butuan. I mean, I say this. Butuan has the friendliest Filipinos. I don't know why. I had spent a month in Butuan like 2 years ago, and I'll say one thing about Butuan, man. I'll pull a Philly in the Philippines and repeat myself here. Butuan has the friendliest people in the Philippines. It's just something about Butuan and the local people being friendly. I don't know what it is, but also I don't know the reason for this. But the girls like foreigners in Butuan. I got probably more attention from girls in Butuan than any other city in the Philippines. Also, I like that it's big enough to have a good SM and a big Starbucks. And also, it has a Rib Shack, which is my favorite franchise restaurant in the Philippines. What I don't like about Butuan is the constant and never-ending road construction. But hey, that's the Philippines for you. After Butuan, I took off riding down south, and I have heard that the ride down the East Coast is a real beauty. That's what I heard anyway. And I have to tell you, it really was. It was the most amazing ride I had during my entire trip around the Philippines. Now, specifically, what I mean is like you pass right through villages with friendly locals who want to wave at you. If I see a pretty girl, I'll honk and wave, and she will always smile and wave back. On top of that is being right next to the ocean during the entire ride. Impressive beaches with big waves. It's really quite the ride. But the highlight of the ride on the East Coast was just the friendly village people. Waving, smiling, happy to see a foreigner riding through. If you smile and wave, they will smile and wave back at you. You don't even have to honk. Anyway, there was one problem on the way to Mati, and the problem was I was enjoying driving too much. That I got myself in a situation where I couldn't find a hotel. I was up in the mountains and it seemed like it never ended. Swerving around the edges of the mountain, it was just 1 hour pass and another hour pass and it just never ended. Now, it was dark and I'm still up there in the mountains, okay? And I was in this area, it was obviously like a mountain town, and it was also obviously like a Muslim village up in the mountains. Now, you gotta realize, bit of a scary situation for myself. It was night. It was dark, and I'm up in the mountains in a Muslim village. I was directed by them, the local Muslims, to take a detour, go into the mountains, and it's pitch black now, folks. And I was thinking like, oh crap, what the F is this? Okay, just my freaking luck. But in reality, it was just a detour due to road construction or a landslide or something like that. I wasn't sure. But I had a very difficult time with this detour because it was just a gravel road and it was extremely steep. So my bike tipped over several times due to me sort of overcorrecting my steering as I slid down this gravel road. Now, even though I was just inching down, it was a very stressful period of the trip because I really felt like I could at any second slide uncontrollably down the hill because it was just too steep. But I made it down, and I have to say that with the combination of being dark and being very tired and my butt hurts and my own possible ignorance, but I did feel a very eerie feeling passing by these small Muslim towns between the mountain and the city of Mati. However, the light at the end of the tunnel was I came across a restaurant with very good food, and just by coincidence, this restaurant was right next to a hotel I would end up staying in. And the hotel was very good. Little story here, folks. I entered the restaurant, and as usual, I'm the only person sitting alone. But at the table right next to mine was an old foreign guy, his wife, and what seemed like her two daughters, as they were too dark to be his. And the guy said, as I sat down, the guy said to his two daughters, "Hey, there's a foreigner for you." As if to say that the two girls had mentioned they wanted a foreign dude. And the two were smiling and looking, and I said hello, and that was about the extent of that. The novelty wore off, and they left without even saying goodbye to Scotty Boy. And that was it for the night in Mati. I headed to the hotel and I slept. Then the next morning, the front desk lady said, "I get a free breakfast." She called up to my room. "You know, there's a free breakfast served at that same restaurant that I was just at the previous night." So I went there again. After eating my free breakfast, hey, it was time to take off to Tagum City. It was on the way to Tagum that I met the American-Filipina married couple that I interviewed. Very nice couple. But, you know, they're my kind of peeps, you know, and if I pass by there again, which I will stop in and say hello to this great couple. We'll have a cup of coffee together, but I made my way to Tagum City and I stayed in this cheap and neat hotel, which was mainly occupied by truckers. But I didn't think, I gotta be honest here, I didn't think much of Tagum. From what I saw, it's kind of a very busy city and nothing interesting to see. But I'm sure if I met up with a foreigner living in Tagum, he could take me on a tour of Tagum to see it in more of a positive light, maybe on the outskirts. I could say the same about Mati also. It was busy. I didn't feel a connection there between either Mati or Tagum. The only feeling I had was, you know, I want to sleep, okay, and I want to wake up and get the hell out of Dodge. But then after Tagum came a beautiful drive through the mountains between Tagum and Malaybalay.
Thank you.